We are in week 10 of the NFL, and this is when teams are going to start making a serious push for the playoffs. That's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to be analyzing the rest of the schedule for each team that is in the hunt for the playoffs. Thanks for joining me today on the Blitz Report. It is about 11 o'clock. Football games haven't started yet. It's Sunday. I'm excited to be watching some games. You're probably not watching this video till Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, so it will be a little bit outdated when you watch it. But let's go ahead and jump into this so I can get off here and start getting ready for some football. I'll start off with the easiest division, and that's the AFC North. The Pittsburgh Steelers have that under wraps. They don't have too many tough opponents left. They have the Titans and the Patriots. Those are the two teams I feel like are the most dangerous for the Steelers at this point, but overall they should have that division under wraps. Moving on to the AFC East, the Patriots are currently winning this division with a 6-2 record. They have a couple of trap games with some AFC West opponents in the Oakland Raiders and the Denver Broncos, who they're going to be playing today. And then they also have to play the Steelers later on in the season, which could also be a dangerous opponent for them. The Bills are also in the hunt in this division, which is very surprising. They're at 5-3, but the Bills have several tough matchups to come. They have a matchup against the Saints today. I feel like this is a more important game for them than it is the Saints, but it's important for the Saints as well. They also have a matchup in a trap game against the Chargers. They got to play the Chiefs, who's also looking to win their division, and they also have to play New England, of course. Moving on to the AFC South, it's a two-team race just like the East. We have the Titans and the Jags. Both of them are currently tied at 5-3. The Titans hold the tiebreaker win over the Jags. The Titans have a couple of tough opponents left in the Steelers, the Rams, and the Jaguars. They got to play each other again in Week 17. The Jaguars, who are at 5-3, have a couple of tough opponents left. They have a tough game against the Chargers today. They're going to be playing the Seahawks later on in the year, and they will also be playing the Titans. AFC West, I feel like at this point it belongs to the Kansas City Chiefs, even though they are on a losing streak. I feel like they can still win that division, but Eric Berry being out is really hurting that team. They do have a couple of trap games against some division opponents, but it's really surprising to me to how bad the West actually is. I thought it was going to be the most competitive division in the NFL. Win-wise, they're taking a lot of losses in that division. Moving on, before we move on to the NFC, let me go ahead and make my predictions for the AFC playoff picture. Steelers are going to win the AFC North. Titans are going to win the AFC South. Patriots will win the East. And the Kansas City Chiefs will win the West, as I predicted. The wild card spots will be with the Jaguars and the Bills. That's just how it's going to play out, I believe. Moving on to the NFC, we'll start with the North. The NFC, the Vikings currently sit at the top at 6-2, but they have several tough opponents left as well. They have a game against the Rams. They have to play the Lions again. They have to play the Falcons, and they have to play the Panthers. All of those could be dangerous teams for the Vikings, who possibly I just watched them. They're doing the NFL countdown right now. They said Teddy Bridgewater might play today, so that's pretty exciting there. I'd really like to see how he's doing, how he's recovered, if he's going to pick his game back up. I know he's going to be rusty, that's a given, but still it'd be exciting to see him play again. Really rooting for him, happy that he's able to come back after such a really terrible injury that he suffered last year. The Lions are at 4-4, second place in the division, but their remaining schedule is much easier, and it's possible that they actually win this division still. Their two toughest matchups, of course, come from the Vikings, and then their next toughest matchup comes against the Bucks. They're playing the Browns today, so watch out for the Vikings. They could seriously come back in this division. It's highly possible the Vikings lose two games. The Lions are definitely going to win two more games, and that would put them tied right there. So that's still a very competitive division between those two teams. NFC East, we currently have the NFC leader in this division in the Philadelphia Eagles at 8-1. But we're fixing to learn a whole lot about the Eagles in the next coming weeks because their remaining schedule is brutal. They've got to play the Cowboys two times. They've got to play the Seahawks. They've got to play the Rams. And That's a pretty tough schedule for 5 games. Cowboys twice, who have started to get hot. They're going to be without Ezekiel Elliott, but that's okay. I feel like they're still going to be all right. I like Alfred Morris. I think, and on a lot of other teams, he would be the featured back. The Cowboys are at 5-3, and they got to play the Eagles twice, and they also have to play the Seahawks. So we're going to learn a lot about the Eagles in the next few weeks. The Cowboys, their schedule is slightly easier, but still pretty tough. So we're just going to have to wait and see about that. The NFC South is a 3-team race right now, I would call it. The Falcons, I'm almost ready to rule them out, but not just yet. Saints are at 6-2. They played the Bills today. The Bills were really hot, but they've started to cool off. Teams are starting to figure out how to beat them. They've got to play the Rams. They've got to play the Panthers, and they got to play the Falcons. A couple of tough divisional games that are going to be very important there at the end of the stretch. Panthers are at 6-3 right now. They're 1 game behind the Saints. They've got to play the Saints, of course. They have to play the Falcons, 2 tough divisional games, and they got to play the Vikings, who currently lead the North. All could be dangerous for the Panthers, but the Panthers are there and they're competing. Their defense is legit, so NFC South is up for grabs. And the Falcons, like I said, I'm not ready to rule them out yet. It's getting close, but not just yet. Their remaining schedule is pretty tough. They got to play the Saints twice. They've got to play the Cowboys, which are doing today, which is going to be a very important matchup for both teams. The Panthers, and they also have to play the Seahawks. So Falcons have a tough schedule ahead, but I'm not ready to rule them out just yet because when they're hot, they're hot. So we're just going to have to wait and see about the Falcons. The NFC West, the last division, Rams currently lead at 6-2. Seahawks are behind at 6-3. Both of these two teams have a tough schedule, so let's go ahead and call it. The Rams have to play the Vikings, the Saints, the Eagles, the Seahawks again, and the Titans. That's going to be a tough stretch there, and we'll learn a lot about the Rams just as well as we will the Eagles. The Seahawks are at 6-3. They have to play the Falcons, the Eagles, the Rams, the Jaguars, and the Cowboys. Both these two teams have a tough stretch ahead. So it's going to be really interesting to see who comes out of this division on top. As for the NFC, my prediction is the Lions will win the North, the Saints will win the South, the Eagles will win the West, and the Eagles will win the East, and the Rams will win the West. The wild card spots are going to go to the Seahawks and the Vikings. But that's my video today analyzing the playoff push, the tough schedules, the easy schedules, who has the advantage over who. So, guys, be sure to like this video if you like the content on this channel. Hit the subscribe button. Very important. I have some big things coming out over the offseason. Whether your team is in the playoffs or whether your team is drafting #1 overall, you're going to want to see what I got coming out this offseason. I promise you, I've been talking about it for a while. And be sure to drop a like. That's very important. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Check the description box for my Twitter. And thanks, you guys. I hope you all have a great day. And good luck to you and all your teams this Sunday.